who became a university professor at the young age of only 24. Well, today I want to tell you about a German professor, philosopher, poet, but also composer by the name of Friedrich Nietzsche. Nietzsche was born in 1844 in a small village of Rücken, and his father was a minister, and he was expected to grow up and do the same thing. However, at the young age of only 5 years old, his father suddenly died from some brain illness. Then, sadly, only 6 months later, his brother died as well. So Nietzsche was surrounded by grief and grew up in a household with just women. He had his sister, his mother, his grandmother, and his 2 aunts. Of course, these losses shaped his whole life deeply, and this boy who was once destined for a path of faith ended up questioning many of these beliefs throughout his life. He went to a prestigious boarding school, and he was actually a very smart boy. He was an excellent student. He excelled, especially when it came to languages, poetry, music, literature, and all of that. He ended up studying philology, which is it's a linguistic studies. So he takes it as far as he can go, and by the time he is 24, he ended up becoming a professor of philology at the University of Basel in Switzerland, and his lectures were great. Students loved them. They were intense, they were dazzling, but students did struggle to keep up with his speed. Like, he had so many thoughts going all at once. While working in Basel, he formed some really great relationships, and one of them is with a composer by the name of Richard Wagner, and they become really, really tight. Nietzsche really loves what Wagner is doing. He is very impressed by his music, but also he really appreciates this desire that Wagner seems to have for a German cultural rebirth. It goes a little bit wrong because Wagner ends up, as you know, probably taking it too far. And then Nietzsche rejects this because now Wagner is a nationalist, and also he goes back into religiosity, and Nietzsche's like, no, that's not working for me. And so this friendship that was really, really, really tight and really great ends up in a really bad way. And this influenced his writings and a lot of what he was doing from then on. Now, if you think of Nietzsche only as a philosopher, you are going to be wrong, because he was also a composer. And it wasn't Wagner that got him into composing. No, he started composing by the time he was only 10 years old. A lot of what he wrote was for the piano, so piano solo, piano duets, piano and voice, but he also wrote some chamber pieces for chamber musicians and some full-on choral works as well. He was a self-taught composer. Rather than being formally trained, he thought of it like, this is a deeply personal expression of how I feel, what I have to say. Music was deeply personal. It was reflective. It was an expressive art. It was a way for him to sort his thoughts and free his mind. He saw it really as an extension of his philosophical and emotional thinking and mind. He himself was a good pianist. He was very competent, not at a level of like a concert pianist. He hadn't put in the time, but he was good. He likes performing and playing like little pieces of opera music. He enjoyed playing Wagner's music while they were still friends. He was good. And so that competency then translated into great works that he did. He talks about it. Music was not just like a pastime or something fun to do. It was truly crucial to him as a human being. Of course, as always, there were a lot of music critics around listening to his music, and some of them liked it. Some of them were like, this is pretty nice. But some of them really hated it, said this is too fragmented, there's nothing holding it together, this doesn't make any sense. And then again, others were like, yeah, I see, you're just trying to express yourself and let us know how you're feeling or what you're dealing with, and this is really beautiful and wonderful. Actually, one of my favorite quotes is by this man, Nietzsche, and he says, without music, life would be a mistake. Nietzsche did fall in love. He proposed twice to the same woman. She was a high-spirited lady that he just loved very much, but she turned him down both times. That was sad. He never had any children either. He ended up getting really ill. He suffered from terrible migraines, near constant like eye pain as well. He had digestive issues, and dealt with exhaustion, and it just compounded to the point where he could no longer teach. Later on in life, he ended up having a complete mental breakdown, and he was taken in by friends first, and they took care of him, and then his mother ended up taking care of him. He died at a very young age of only 55, and it looks like people believe it might have been from very similar issues that his father had passed away from. He's known for a lot of things, definitely his philosophy. He's very controversial with some of the things he said he wrote. Some believe him brilliant, some believe him crazy. But he is a musician who has left us with some beautiful work. And if you've never listened to it, or even if you have, go listen to some Friedrich Nietzsche and see what you think.